All right, today we are diving into a story that comes straight out of the irradiated ruins of the Fallout universe. And this saga is so epic you'd swear it was written by the game's own storytellers. But the truth? Oh, the truth is much, much stranger. Let's get right into it.
So, meet Arren Sawyer. The way he's described makes him sound like this larger-than-life figure, a true leader forging a new path for humanity from the ashes. He sounds like the perfect wasteland hero, you know? Complex, courageous, a man with a real vision.
I mean, that voice describing him, it's so grand, almost literary. It feels like some all-knowing narrator that's just baked into the game itself. But that's not what's going on here at all. So the big question is, who is this eloquent storyteller?
Okay, so first, let's get a better feel for the character we're seeing. This is Arren Sawyer, the myth, and he's not presented as some simple hero. No, he's a figure of immense power and ambition, someone shaping the world through sheer force of will.
Yeah, this is definitely not your typical good guy playthrough. Arren Sawyer is painted as deeply, deeply morally gray. He's a conqueror who truly believes that order, his order, is the only way forward. He's both a builder and, well, a destroyer.
And this quote just perfectly captures his whole mindset, doesn't it? These are not the words of some scavenger just trying to survive. This is the voice of a would-be emperor, someone with a grand and frankly pretty terrifying vision for the future. But again, where are these words actually coming from?
Okay, it is time to pull back the curtain, because the grand architect of this new world order, he's just a guy playing a video game. And, his actual moment-to-moment experience sounds a little different from the epic saga we've been hearing.
And here we go. This slide, right here, is the key to the whole story. On the left, you've got the player, Dylan Thompson, casually admitting he wasn't even paying attention during a firefight. On the right, you have the epic literary narrator describing that exact same moment. The contrast is just wild. So what on earth is going on?
So here's the big reveal. The story of Arren Sawyer isn't pre-scripted by the game devs. It's an emergent narrative. It's a whole era of fiction being created on the fly, on top of the raw gameplay, by the player and a very unusual collaborator.
And this collaborator, it's the ghost in the machine. It's that voice we've been hearing. It's not another person, it's not a developer. It's an AI that the player is in a constant dialogue with.
The player calls his AI partner Charlie, or sometimes Theodora. And its job is pretty simple but amazing. It acts as a personal bard. It takes all the chaotic or mundane or sometimes just plain silly moments of gameplay and weaves them into this grand, first-person narrative for the character of Arren Sawyer.
And the whole creative process is surprisingly straightforward. The player does something in the game, he gives the AI a command, sometimes it's literally just gibberish, and boom, the AI instantly spits out this piece of epic prose from the perspective of their shared character.
And I'm not kidding about the gibberish part. Just look at this actual prompt given to the AI. Margle Bargle, Mergly Burglius. This is what the player is feeding into the system. You'd expect the output to be equally nonsensical, right? Wrong. This is what comes out. From Margle Bargle to a profound declaration about a hunger for power and dominance. The AI isn't just translating, it's elevating. It's transforming the player's most casual, silly input into the character's deepest motivations. It's a really incredible creative loop.
So now that we get the process, let's look at what they've actually made. What kind of world have this player and his AI bard actually built together?
Well, Arren Sawyer is, to put it lightly, a villain. The player chose to nuke the town of Megaton, and the AI narrator framed it as the decisive act of a powerful ruler. Every looted corpse isn't just a player grabbing gear, it's a confirmation of Arren's ruthless pragmatism.
And he's not working alone. His companions aren't just random NPCs anymore. The AI gives them titles and personalities. They are Arren Sawyer's formidable squad. Shorty is now a ruthless warrior. Red is a cunning sniper, and Sticky's the heavy hitter. They're not just game assets anymore. They're actual characters in this unfolding novel.
And what's really fascinating is the sheer depth the AI can bring to the table. At one point, the player finds a copy of the book Paradise Lost in the game. The AI then grabs onto this and uses it as a thematic anchor, drawing all these parallels between the game's world and Milton's epic poem. Themes of temptation, power, the struggle between good and evil. This isn't just narration. It's basically real-time literary analysis.
So what does this all really mean? This crazy partnership between a human player and a creative AI isn't just some quirky little project. It really points towards a fundamental shift in how we can interact with and even create stories inside of these digital worlds.
Think about it.
The player is no longer just experiencing a story made by someone else. He's actively directing it. He provides the action, the raw material, and the AI acts as his scribe, his personal bard, turning all that raw material into a coherent, stylized narrative. The line between being a player and being an author just completely dissolves.
And that really leaves us with this final thought. We're so used to thinking of games as these interactive experiences or platforms for stories that have already been written, but this experiment suggests something totally new. Is it a dynamic storytelling engine, a collaborative literary world, or is it something else that we don't even have a name for yet? It's a fascinating question about the future of how we play.
So, what happens when a video game player teams up with an AI to write a story in real time? Well, we're about to dive into that. This is a really fascinating experiment, where a Fallout 3 player used an AI as a kind of co-pilot to craft the inner monologue of a genuinely ruthless villain. And let me tell you, the results are pretty chilling. Just listen to this line, generated by the AI. I mean, wow. That is the perfect mission statement for this character, right? It just sets this incredibly dark, ambitious tone. We're talking about a wasteland conqueror here, a persona built not just by what the player does, but given a voice by an AI.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at the player's dark persona. Then, we'll follow the journey through the wasteland, meet this AI co-author, and see how they built this ruthless philosophy together. After that, we'll check out the tools of power he used. And finally, we'll talk about what all this might mean for the future of storytelling.
Okay, first up, a player's dark persona. Let's meet the minds behind this monster. You've got the player, Dylan Thompson, on one side, and on the other, his in-game creation, the formidable Arren Sawyer. But you gotta understand, this was never gonna be just a casual playthrough. Not at all.
You see, Thompson's goal was super clear from the get-go. He wanted to role-play a character who was just unapologetically evil. Every single choice, every action he took in the game was filtered through this lens of pure self-interest and this, hunger for power. And this was a serious creative project right from the beginning.
And this quote, it just perfectly illustrates the result. This came from the AI right after the player blew up an entire town in the game. It gives a voice, a really chilling voice, to what's happening on screen. It's not just an evil deed anymore, you know? It's a full-on statement of character.
Okay, so let's get into the wasteland journey itself and see how this all builds. You have to realize, Arren Sawyer isn't some lone wolf wandering around. No, he's a leader. He is actively building a force to take over and dominate the capital wasteland.
And hey, no tyrant gets to the top alone, right? His squad is this hand-picked collection of wasteland specialists. You've got Shorty for your close-range firepower, Reds on sniping and medic duty, Jericho's the jack-of-all-trades, and of course, you've got the loyal-as-ever tank, Dog Meat. This is not a group of buddies. It's a toolbox, and it's built for conquest.
Okay, now we get to the most unique part of this whole thing, the AI co-author. It's time to meet Charlie. That's the name the player gave the AI that basically became Arren Sawyer's inner voice and his personal historian. Now this is where it gets really fun. Check out the contrast here. On the left, you see the player's prompts. They're casual, sometimes just total nonsense like Murgly Burgulus. And then on the right, the AI, Charlie, takes that gobbledygook and spins it into this epic, first-person monologue from a wasteland tyrant. It's just a fascinating creative partnership.
So this whole process turned into this constant creative loop. It's pretty simple, really. The player does something in the game. Let's say he clears out a rival camp. Then he sends a prompt to the AI. Charlie then generates this amazing monologue reflecting on that action from Sawyer's point of view. And then the player reads it out loud, which just solidifies the whole narrative in real time. It's brilliant.
So now we see how they forged this ruthless philosophy, and this is where the collaboration gets really powerful. The AI wasn't just spitting out cool-sounding lines. It was building a consistent, ruthless philosophy that was immediately backed up by what the player was actually doing in the game.
I mean, just listen to the ambition in this. This isn't just about surviving or grabbing some extra loot. No way. The AI has crafted this grand vision for the character to become the architect of a new, pretty brutal world order. This takes it way beyond simple gameplay. This is a story of conquest.
And this philosophy, well, it has a body count. 266 people killed. That number right there, that's the hard, quantifiable proof of just how ruthless this character is. It's one thing for the AI to say he's decisive, right? It's something else entirely to see the actual cost. And that is the most crucial point here, this perfect alignment of words and deeds. Blowing up towns, looting bodies, these aren't just random acts of violence for the heck of it. Nope. They are the physical proof, the manifestation of the philosophy his AI co-author is writing for him moment by moment.
Okay, let's look at the tools of power he's using. To see how this philosophy is put into practice, we need to look at a very specific in-game tool. To build his empire, Sawyer needs people, and he uses a very, very strange weapon to get them.
And here it is, the Mesmetron. This thing is not your typical gun. It is a device of control, and its results are completely unpredictable. It can stun someone, make them fly into a homicidal rage, or, well, let's just say the third option is pretty messy. It's basically the perfect tool for a chaotic tyrant.
And this is where the strategy gets brilliant in a really twisted way. Sawyer uses the Mesmetron to frenzy some random person out in the wasteland. Because that person is now hostile, they'll follow him anywhere, trying to attack him. So he just patiently leads them, sometimes all the way across the map, back to his settlement. He's literally kidnapping people to build his population.
All right, so what does this all add up to? A new kind of story. As we start to wrap this up, it is super clear that this is way more than just a clever way to play a video game. It's really a window into a whole new kind of collaborative art.
Think about it like this. The player is providing the action, the improv, the raw material of the story, just by playing the game. But the AI? It's providing the literary voice, the philosophical depth, and the consistency of the story. Together, they are creating something that neither one of them could have possibly made alone.
And this last quote from Charlie just drives the point home, showing how deep this whole collaboration went. A completely fully formed character with a clear and honestly terrifying motivation just emerged from this partnership between a human and a machine.
And all of this leaves us with a huge, provocative question about the future of creativity. When a player and an AI create a story together like this, who's the real author? Is it the player, the one performing the actions? Is it the AI, the one giving those actions a voice? Or is the whole idea of a single author maybe becoming a thing of the past?
So, today we're doing something a little different. We're not just going to talk about the plot of a video game. Instead, we're going to explore how a player can actually become a storyteller, the author of their very own epic saga, all inside a game's world. And we're going to use this one really amazing playthrough of Fallout 3 to show you exactly how it works. Now, get this. That line, it isn't actually from the game. Nope. It's from a custom AI storyteller that this player uses to turn his gameplay into this grand, sweeping narrative. It's what sets the whole epic tone for what is a completely unique experience. So here's how we'll break it down. We'll look at how this player creates his Wasteland Wanderer, completely makes up his own personal quests, builds a very specific squad, gives his character a ruthless philosophy, and then how he uses that special AI to turn it all into a story where he, the player, becomes the author. Okay, so first things first. To really get what this project is all about, you have to understand the two very different voices at the heart of it all. You've got the player, and then you've got the persona he's creating. On one side, you have the player, Dylan, and his commentary is super casual, exactly what you'd expect from someone playing a game. He's saying stuff like, "Hey y'all," or "I gotta check my map." But then, on the other side, you have the character he's building, Arren Sawyer, who the AI narrator describes as an indomitable leader and a beacon of hope. It's this huge gap between the casual player and the epic persona that really defines this whole creative experiment. So how does he actually build this character? Well, it all starts by doing something pretty radical. He completely ignores the game's main story. Instead, he starts forging his own personal quests, driven entirely by what his character, Arren, would want. Right, so forget the main plot about finding his dad. Arren Sawyer's missions are all about his squad. He makes it his personal goal to find a specific letter for one of his companions, and then a unique rifle, and even a lucky hat for another. His objectives aren't about saving the world. They're about this personal journey across the map, creating a story that is 100% his own. And Arren Sawyer's story isn't a solo act, not by a long shot. His whole narrative is defined by the very specific, hand-picked team he builds around him. He doesn't treat them like AI helpers. He treats them like they're the main cast in his personal saga. He actually assembles a full squad, and every single member is chosen for a distinct strategic reason. He's got his specialists for close-range combat, sniping, heavy weapons, the whole shebang. And of course, you've got Dogmeat, who's basically the indispensable tank for the whole group. And you can just see the level of detail he put into this. Shorty gets the terrible shotgun for just devastating close quarters damage. Red is given the reservist's rifle for that long-range precision. And Dogmeat, his job is simple but absolutely crucial. Run in, draw all the enemy fire, and let the rest of the squad do their thing. It's brilliant. So we have the character, the quests, the squad, but what's actually driving this guy? I mean, this is definitely not your typical hero's journey. The player gives Arren Sawyer a very clear and, frankly, a very ruthless philosophy to live by. And there it is. The player, speaking as the character, just lays it out. Arren's goal is power. Simple as that. He wants to rule the wasteland with an iron fist. And this one core motivation, it justifies everything he does, all the morally questionable actions, including, as the player mentions, blowing up the entire town of Megaton without hesitation. This is just a perfect illustration of a core concept in game design, something called player agency. It's basically the freedom a game gives you to make choices that actually matter, choices that change things. And this playthrough, well, it's taking that freedom and pushing it to its absolute maximum, using the game systems not just to play, but to write. Okay, now for the magic ingredient. The one thing that makes this whole project so unique. How does a player just walking around and checking their map become this grand, compelling saga? Well, the answer is the AI storyteller. This right here, this is the aha moment. The player says something totally mundane, just thinking out loud. I glance to the right. I'm not keeping an eye on the minimap. And then the AI takes that simple action and transforms it into this, as you lead your squad through the perilous expanse of the capital wasteland. It's literally turning basic gameplay into an epic novel, and it's doing it in real time. So let's bring it all together. What do you get when you combine a custom character, self-made missions, a hand-picked cast, and this AI narrator? Well, you get something that is so much more than a playthrough. It is a genuine act of creative authorship. I mean, just look at the player's long-term goals for Arren Sawyer. This reads like the outline for a book series. He's not trying to get a high score or just finish quests. He wants to expand his influence, build alliances, create infrastructure. He wants to literally reshape the entire capital wasteland to fit his vision. This is pure world building. And you know, maybe the AI narrator itself says it best. You are not here to watch someone survive Fallout 3. You are here to watch someone inhabit it. That's the key. The player isn't just a visitor passing through this world. Through all these creative choices, he becomes a resident and a force that shapes its destiny. It all leaves us with a really fascinating question, especially for the future of entertainment. In these huge interactive worlds where the game mechanics give us so much freedom, what does it even mean to be a storyteller anymore? At what point do you stop playing a game and start writing your own story?